It's really down to the wire in the United States. Just hours from now, voting will start for the midterm elections. Democrats and Republicans are in their final stretch of campaigning. These polls will decide who will run the Congress. The U.S. Congress has two chambers. First, the House of Representatives, that has 435 seats in total, all of them up for grabs here. Second chamber is the Senate, where out of the 100 seats, only about one-third are being contested. The results will set the tone for the next 2 years for Joe Biden's term. If it concludes with a strong Republican showing, it could upend many domestic and foreign policy plans. The midterms are also important for state-level polls. This time, governors' mansions are also up for grabs in 36 states. State-level lawmakers, secretaries of state, attorney generals will also be decided on. Let's also now come to the key issues. Issues related to the economy, they've become a top priority for voters. In most states, the views are divided along partisan lines. Since the 2021 Capitol riots, democracy and election authenticity have come under question. The Democrats have been constantly touting this midterm as a way to save democracy. Abortion rights continue to resonate strongly for Democrats, while Republicans are more focused on current jobs and immigration. Then there are the other common issues that flare up in every election season, like education, climate, public safety, gun control. President Joe Biden, former President Donald Trump are not running this election, but you will see them in most of the visuals coming in from the United States as they are rooting for their party candidates. And the focus seems to have shifted on the 2024 presidential elections already.
Today we face an inflection point, one of those moments comes around every 3 or 4 generations. We know in our bones that our democracy is at risk, and we know that this is your moment to defend it, preserve it, protect it, choose it. Democracy is on the ballot. Political violence and intimidation are on the rise all across America. And you remember January 6th, the angry mob that stormed the U.S. Capitol, attacked law enforcement, hunted down elected officials, erected gallows to hang Vice President Pence. Well, West's opponent supported that mob.
Now, Donald Trump has even revealed that he will be making a very big announcement on the 15th of November. Remember, he's expected to throw his hat in the ring as well for the 2024 race to the White House. These midterms could be a make-or-break moment for Trump's political future.
It's just as the price of oil. But not to detract from tomorrow's very important, even critical election. I'm going to be making a very big announcement on Tuesday, November 15th at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida.
The midterms take place 2 years after a presidential election, so it is seen as a referendum on the performance of the sitting president. However, it's also a litmus test on the opposition. The Republicans, they're monitoring their base and how they're also testing how many could change their vote to red in the next presidential election. As per the past trends, they show that fewer voters typically cast ballots in the midterms. And to understand the mood ahead of the midterms, WION correspondent Susan Tehrani gets us this report from New York. Listen in.
As we get closer to the midterm finish line, NBC did a recent poll and found that there are two forces that are shaping the campaign landscape. The first force would be fundamentals, like the 44% of voters who approve of President Biden's job, the 72% who think that the country is heading in the wrong direction, and the 81% who are dissatisfied with the economy. Now, it is these fundamentals that could cause shellacking for the Democrats, to borrow a phrase from former President Barack Obama. But then there is a second force, and that is increased polarization. Now, it is this force that has found that there has become a renewed sense of enthusiasm among Democrats, partly because of the Supreme Court's Dobbs vote, but also because the 47% of voters who are more worried about Republicans taking control of Congress versus the 45% who are more worried that the Democrats maintain control of Congress. Basically, those voters who are going to the polls and are voting against the other party. Now, at this point, however, we don't know which of these fundamentals will ultimately shape the outcome of the midterms. However, it was interesting to take note of. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION, World as One.
A few hours remain for the US midterm elections, but what are these midterm elections and how are they different from the general elections? Our next report has all the answers.
Midterm elections in the United States take place at the halfway point of a presidential term. Election day is the Tuesday following the first Monday in November. The elections decide who will control the US Congress. All 435 seats are up for grabs in the House of Representatives. House members serve 2-year terms. Approximately 1/3 of the 100-seat Senate is elected. Senators serve 6-year overlapping terms. The results of the midterms can have a significant effect on the ability of the president to govern the country. Primary elections are held throughout the US in the months leading up to the midterms. Voters select their preferred candidate from each party. He or she then goes forward to the main vote in November. 36 new state governors out of 50 are also elected.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.